if you're like me, you game and stream on a budget. You don't have tons of money floating around. You don't have a lucrative YouTube channel. You don't have hundreds of subscribers funneling money into your cap. You're just a person who does this as a hobby. As such, you kind of have to do things on the cheap. What are the things that cause you to hate a hobby? Right? You tend to hate things that are a hobby because they become too difficult or they become frustrating. As long as something can truly remain a hobby, it's truly something that you do for no other reason other than you intrinsically want to do this, you can have a lot of fun with it. The problem becomes when people start trying to get complex with things. I strongly advocate that someone uses a webcam when streaming for one basic reason. Webcams work. They work great. You turn them on, they turn on. They work. They stream, they work. For a lot of people who want to get into streaming and they look at this as a potential career outlet, I think that they're missing kind of the point with this. Streaming, unless you are extremely lucky, is going to be just a hobby. It's something that you do for fun. Now, it doesn't mean you can't strive to be the best if it is a hobby. I don't do things as a hobby that I have no interest in improving it or doing better. You just do them because you enjoy them and you become better because of that. When I first started streaming, I streamed from my Xbox. I didn't even have a camera. I had my Xbox, I would connect to Twitch, and I remember I posted it on Reddit. Was anyone watching me? I saw like a 1. Did that mean someone was legitimately watching me do this? And they're like, yeah, someone watched you. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I got a Kinect camera, and I used the Kinect camera, and that worked pretty good for a while. And then, unfortunately, Twitch disabled the ability to use your Kinect camera as a webcam on the Xbox to broadcast to Twitch. Thus was the end of that. I had to then go get a webcam if I wanted to continue streaming. I flirted around some other things. I flirted around with streaming on an old Windows 7 machine that I had at the time. I had a old camcorder that I would plug in with one of the cheap knockoff cam links. I plugged that in and I would watch half of that. I tried broadcasting directly from my phone. I tried broadcasting with my phone connected into my computer, doing that. Eventually I got myself a Windows 10 machine. It wasn't until I got myself an Elgato, the little box that you plug your Xbox into. It wasn't until I got that I really started enjoying streaming again. As a hobbyist, I view anything that gets in between me and turning on the stream and communicating with y'all to be a hindrance. So after I was a Just Dance streamer, I started working out. What I found was the frustrating thing about being a workout streamer, a fitness streamer, is I had to make a decision. Did I want to work out in an ugly environment, or did I want to work out in a pretty environment? And the pretty environment just took too much work. I spent 30 minutes every day setting it up and tearing it down because it doubled as my kid's playroom. And I don't think it was even that pretty. It just wasn't your standard gray, ugly basement. So I've gotten to the point now where I have a couple of webcams. I have the webcam I'm talking with you. I have a webcam that uses a top-down camera for when I am broadcasting Lego building. Those are the two webcams I mostly use in my day-to-day. And I've thought long and hard about what is the value of each of these webcams. Why do I use them? I use them because they're simple and they turn on. I particularly don't like my webcam I have on the top down. I don't like it for a couple reasons. One, it's not as good quality as this camera is, and maybe at some point I'll shell out for another high-end webcam. For over here right now, this is just a PW313, which is a standard 1080p. This is a very high-end webcam. But as such, there's a big lighting discrepancy between this webcam, and I'll kind of show you. So here is my webcam that you're seeing me on, and here is the PW13, which isn't even on right now. There we go. Let's move that all the way down. Alright, so again, here's my good web camera, and you can see it's a good quality camera. The lighting is set up for this camera because this is the main camera. My secondary camera, not as good. I'm a little washed out because the lighting is set up for this camera, and as such, it's hard to get lighting that works for both cameras because they're different quality images. This one I would have to tweak around with to try to make it good. And that's what I don't like about that camera. So I've looked into what could be a definite alternative, and I want to go through what a lot of the people say is an alternative to having a webcam. And I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of each of them. So let's start with the one that I hear the most frequently from people say, don't buy a webcam. The people say, do not buy a webcam. The people shudder at the idea that you would be broadcasting on a webcam. And again, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying they're not thinking things through entirely. They like to talk about this. Your cell phone. This is my cell phone. I don't use my cell phone as a webcam for one very basic reason. Every time I've used this to broadcast myself and I get a call or a text or an Instagram notification or someone's gone live notification or yada yada yada, it stops my stream or it will stop my camera. I don't know about you, but try putting your phone down and just see how frequently this thing goes off in any given hour of your day. I'm going to guess, unless you're the Unabomber hermit, 10 times an hour. That's my safe guess. 10 times an hour. Something like this will happen. It'll alert you, yada. So 10 times an hour, you're potentially going to lose it. So I said to myself, cool, not a fan. I can't use my primary phone. So I was gifted a secondary phone from my sister-in-law. She upgraded to the newest iPhone. She gave me her old iPhone, which is newer than actually my actual cell phone. My cell phone is a iPhone 6. She had an iPhone 8. She went up to whatever the newest one is, and she gave me her old one. And so I used that, and I tried that one time. I did an over-the-camera shot of me broadcasting. The thought process is that would be a higher image quality than what I was shooting off of my cell phone. So again, better quality than this camera. I'm not saying this is a bad camera. I'm just saying this is not as good as this. So again, the idea that I could have a cell phone that I could just plug in and use as better, why not? Why not test it out and see how well it works? So we did that. We picked it up, we got the apps installed, we did all those things, we put it on, and it worked. But the image quality, believe it or not, on an iPhone 8, not as good as this. Everyone in my stream told me that this was a better image quality than what we had on an iPhone 8. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up real quick the image quality of what we're looking at, just so that we can shudder and laugh about what it used to look like, because again, it really was hideous compared to it. This is off of the cell phone. And this is the quality of the overhead cam. Not the best options, but that's what you're dealing with. Unless you're going to spend lots of quality time really tweaking it, I don't think you're going to get as good of an image on a cell phone as you are going with a webcam. Webcams, the low-end ones, are $60, $70. You're not going to have to deal with it cutting in and out. You're not going to have to deal with all the funky stuff that goes on with it. Because believe me, everyone I know who has a cell phone as a camera, they run into at least 1 to 2 problems a stream with their connection. That is always going to work better. Right here. This is always going to be a more stable connection than when you use a cell phone. And the image quality is better in my mind. So let's talk about the second option you can have. And you see Harris Heller talking about a lot. He says, invest the money into a cam link and get yourself a GoPro. Not a bad idea. Just a GoPro is not designed to be a webcam. A better idea is actually just to stream directly from your GoPro. Most GoPros are set up to do that. The image quality on this is a good high image quality. I have streamed off of my GoPro. My garage building video, that was a GoPro. Right, so let's go look at the garage building video for a second. So again, you can see the quality of it. This is actually my number one video on all of YouTube, is my garage building one. So as you can see, here I am off of this webcam, which is a good quality camera. So here's the GoPro. And this isn't properly lit at all. But as you can see, this is still a very good image. And what this is doing is this is streaming from this directly to my computer. No wires connecting. I'm going over what's known as an RTMP server. This works very good. one of the problems you're going to run into with that type of thing, again, you're going to run into connectivity issues, the same type of issues you're going to run into using this. I find this to be a little more stable of a situation. There's also delay built into it when you do the RDMP. You're talking about a 15-second delay, which is gnarly. Imagine playing a video game using a 15-second delay between the image you see of the streamer and the game. They blow something up, 15 seconds later, you're done. There is no way to fix that big of a delay. So you can also then connect it from this through your capture card. And that works. That works. It's going to be better, but one of the things I run into is when you do that switch over between a clean output from your GoPro to your computer through a cam link, you're going to run into the problem is that now you're telling this to do something it is not designed to do. It's not going to work as well. You're going to have to go in, you have to mess with the settings, and then you go do that. So if all you ever use this for is that kind of streaming, sure, it could work. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to use your GoPro for anything other than a webcam, you're going to spend time setting this to your webcam settings, plugging it in, making sure it works. And then when you want to use your GoPro as a GoPro, guess what you got to do? Change all your settings on your GoPro and go back to it. It gets tiresome. The advantage that I keep telling you of the webcam is that you turn it on, it works, it works. You're lowering the number of barriers you're going to have to be able to do it. The last thing that a lot of these people will tell you to do is they tell you to do a DSLR. That stands for a digital single reflex camera. Lens reflex camera. Digital single lens reflex camera. Yes, DSLR. And they say plug that directly into your cam link and that will be gravy. And aside from, of course, the changing of the settings around, I actually do support people owning a DSLR. I'm a big fan of DSLR cameras. In fact, I have one myself. This right here is my Pentax K5. I own this because I used to be a wedding photographer. And I love this camera. This camera lacks what's known as a clean digital output, so I can't just plug it into an HDMI cable and use this as a web camera. It has great lenses. As you can see, this is my super zoom lens. I also have a macro zoom lens. I also have a normal zoom lens. I even have a fancy schmancy super flash. And if you were wondering how cool is Craw, this is how incredibly cool as a person I am. I generally, when I have my camera on, I wear this strap. I forget exactly how it goes on me right now, but the idea being is that it goes over my shoulder. This straps around, connects there, and then I can connect to the bottom of my camera, and my camera can just hang safely at my side. And when I need to take a photo, I can pull it up, click, 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 and then I can just hang it on my side. So I fully support buying a DSLR if you want to get into photography. But if all you're going to do is use this as a webcam, get a webcam. I cannot stress that enough. But if you're going to get this and then you're going to use this for video blogging, or you're actually going to get into photography and learn how to do things like f-stops and all that stuff, go for it. I fully support you doing that. But not a lot of people are. They're not going to go that full route. They're not going to do that. Because the first thing you should do, if you're going to go that route, because you want to learn photography, I'm going to give you 3 book recommendations. The Camera by Ansel Adams. It will teach you everything you need to know about how to take photographs and how to use a camera. It is basic. It is wonderful. He's got wonderful pictures into it. He has diagrams on how to learn how to do this stuff. This is a worthwhile investment. Also, and again, I know this may annoy people, get the negative. Sure, that may not have a negative in it, but this will explain to you the concepts of what a negative does. Because photography isn't just the camera. There's a three-pronged thing to get into it. You have to understand how negatives work. How is your sensor going to react to light? And most importantly, pick up the print. I know you're not actually printing them, but if you think about it, the effects of the photo, so you take your photo, you plug into Photoshop, and you do work with, that is the print. This will explain how you print things. So yeah, that's what I gotta say right now. I've just heard one too many fancy stream doctors, people explaining how to do streaming, how to do these things, all advocating that if you want to be a serious streamer, don't buy a webcam. That's for suckers. And I'm telling you, no. Buy a webcam. If you want to be a photographer, get a DSLR. Because then you can be a photographer. And maybe you use your camera as a webcam. But if all you're going to do is buy that and plug it right there, and it's going to sit right there, you are doing yourself a disservice.